Oumar Ballo from Arizona is in the transfer portal. Number one, did not see this coming. Number two, please, Dana, go get him. Go get him. I don't know if Dana Altman has ever listened to or watched Locked On Ducks. I'd be honored if he did. Please go get Oumar Ballo. He is... I love Moneyball. It's the best sports movie of all time. One of my favorite movies ever. And there's a great scene in there about Jason Giambi, and he leaves. And Brad Pitt's making the point, as Billy Beane, of course. Is there another first baseman like Giambi? And if there was, could we afford him? Then he sends a word that I can't repeat here on the show. What we can do is we can recreate him in the aggregate. Well, adding Ballo wouldn't be recreating N'Faly Dante in the aggregate. It would just kind of be adding a new N'Faly Dante. So Ballo was a double-double machine this year. He had like 15 double-doubles. He averaged a double-double this year for Arizona. All-conference caliber player, experienced guy. Started at Gonzaga once upon a time. Went with Tommy Lloyd to Arizona, and he's flourished over the last couple of seasons. Not only is he a big guy who takes up a lot of space in the paint, who blocks shots, who scores, and is efficient, he's also, wait for it, originally from the country of Mali. That's where N'Faly Dante's from. So I'm just connecting the dots and saying, hey, this would be a great fit, because losing Dante is a huge part of Oregon's team from last year. You know who would be the ideal plug-and-play sort of guy? Big hulking presence in the middle, where you'd say, oh, okay, we have new N'Faly. That's what Ballo would be. He'd be new Dante. And it would be a one-year ordeal, but guess what? College sports are a year-to-year proposition, and Ballo would be fantastic. Dana Altman is familiar with him because of his time at Arizona. He's coached against him several times, and certainly Ballo is familiar with the way Dana Altman uses bigs, which leads me to my second point as to why this is a great two-way relationship should it come to fruition, and boy, I hope it does. Have not heard whether Oregon's going to be in the mix. It would be coaching malpractice if a phone call is not made, or if a text is not sent, if an offer is not extended to go get Ballo out of the transfer portal. The familiarity with Oregon, you keep him in the same sort of geography. Of course, he'd be playing in the Big Ten, because that's where Oregon will be next year, which is still weird to me, but you know what? It's just what it is now. It all makes so much sense. And Dana Altman's track record with big men has to appeal at some level to Ballo, right? I don't know why he'd want to leave Arizona and Tommy Lloyd. I think Lloyd's a really good coach, and he's done a good job over the last couple of years. And Ballo was at the centerpiece of what they were doing, or not the centerpiece per se. That was kind of Caleb Love, but he was a big focal point. He was a major piece of what they did, of why they were successful, of how they played. And you got to look at what Dante did the last couple of years, couple of first-team All Pac-12 selections when he's been healthy. And then you think back to guys like Jordan Bell and Kenny Wooten, Chris Boucher, like the lineup of bigs that Dana Altman has had success with is extensive, and you got to go and make that selling point to Ballo. So I think that this would be a really, really good match, and it's not the only move Oregon needs to make in the portal. So if you get Ballo, that would be like my number one dream target right now. There still needs to be someone to come in and be next year's Jermaine Couisnard, or at least play that sort of position. Because remember, you've got Brennan Rigsby in the transfer portal. You've got, and he was a bench guy anyway, Kerry Oquendo, Jermaine Couisnard, and N'Faly Dante. They're gone to graduation, along with Mo Diawara. But if you brought in Ballo, your needs would go something like this: a big to bring off the bench, a starting shooting guard, and a bench wing/guard, a Kerry Oquendo type. That would be it. There's still a lot of guys in the portal. I don't know when these moves are going to get made, but here's what I do know. Gotta happen at some point. Can't run it back with what you have coming in the high school class next year. There's just the one guy. Just the one guy, Ibrahim Traore, a 6'8", 3-star center. I don't think he's going to be expected to come in, start, and set the world on fire. Right? He comes in with a lot less hype than a guy like N'Faly Dante or Nate Biddle. But if you could give me a front court that rotates between, whoever your kind of fourth complementary big would be, like a good like a stretch, a solid stretch four, maybe, someone in the 6'8" to 6'10" range, maybe like an athletic 6'8", 6'10" power forward sort of guy to bring off the bench. I'd be down with that. But if your top three bigs are rotating between KJ Evans, Oumar Ballo, and Nate Biddle, and you can find one more just kind of solid piece in there, that's going to be one of the best front courts in the Big Ten. Might be one of the best front courts in all of college basketball. I think Evans is poised for a massive leap forward in year two. And I think that Ballo is someone who comes in and fits exactly the way Oregon wants to play. And you can use him in the exact same way you used N'Faly Dante this past year. And he's every bit as skilled. I don't think he's quite as athletic. He's a little bit heavier, but his production is impossible to deny. And Shellstad is your point guard. Your small forwards are going to be Mookie Cook and Bam Tracy. You're going to bring Keyshawn Bartholomew off the bench. You need one more bench piece and a starting shooting guard, and then you're good. That's the lineup right there. And you know what? Frankly, if you bring in Ballo, maybe Traore is ready to just contribute of just being a big body out there. I don't know. I haven't really done, to be honest, a film breakdown of kind of what he could bring to the table or what's expected of him. But maybe those would be your four front court players. And guess what? It's a pretty good front court. That's a pretty good front court. You have a freshman who could learn from a couple of experienced bigs like Ballo and Biddle. You'd have KJ Evans who's still learning and can play a small ball 5 or be a 4. I think it would be such a great match. And look, I don't think it's urgent times for Oregon basketball here. And oh my gosh, you got to find guys. But slowly but surely, names are going to get plucked out of the portal and they're going to find homes. I think there's still some time, but I do wake up, not daily, let's call it every other day, wondering, have they added a transfer yet? I know they were in the Final Four for that 6'4" transfer guard from Iowa, and I don't believe he has committed yet. Tony Perkins is the guy that I'm talking about there. He is not committed yet. So that's the name that I'm waiting on, but Ballo is at the top of my list. I think I would. That's an interesting question. Would I rather get Perkins or Ballo? Probably rather get Ballo, just because the number of high-level, proven production bigs that are out there like him, fewer and far between than shooting guards that can come in and play a little bit of defense and score maybe 10 to 14 points a game on average is what you need from that position for Oregon's roster next year. But that's my wish list. That's my wish list right now for Oregon basketball. Go get Ballo. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.